What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Inside the D. Today, we are going to be talking about the Euro 2020 tournament. It's in 2021, but it's still called the Euro 2020 tournament. Very exciting. It's what we've all been looking forward to. It's going to be a fantastic few weeks of games. It's going to be a really fun summer. We're going to start off in Group A, and we're going to be talking about Eco's home nation of Italy.
I'd like to say Italy got niced this year with our group. It's not too difficult of a group, although Turkey is looking very nice. As long as we finish top two, we're okay. I think we'll be able to manage Turkey. In my opinion, it's gonna go Italy, Turkey, and then for me, Switzerland and Wales is kind of a toss up. I'd say Wales 3, Switzerland 4 in my opinion, but that's my top four for Group A.
Yeah, I think, as Aiden said, Italy got niced. Um, I would say that Switzerland.
Well, Eco said that, but
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Eco said that Italy got niced. I would say that Switzerland, Turkey, and Wales are not horrible teams, but they're not amazing teams. Italy, I think, should pretty simply get the first, and could probably go undefeated. And get a really nice selection out into the next round. And then I do agree that Turkey is going to get second. Looks like they got a strong team, and I think that they've got a good chance of getting second. And then, like Eco just said, between Switzerland and Wales, I think it's a toss-up. I think Switzerland and Wales. So I'm going Italy, Turkey, Switzerland, Wales.
I've got the same as Luke. So, like you both said, it is a toss-up between the third and fourth. I think it's going to be Italy, then Turkey, and then I did go for Switzerland. I think Wales is just not strong enough. They had a very good Euro 2016 for a team that wasn't supposed to make it far at all, losing in the semifinal and then beating Belgium in the quarterfinal. I mean, we could see that happen again. You never know. But realistically, Wales for me is finishing last. They just don't have a strong team. They've got decent players. Bale and Danny James are the only players that really stand out to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it is a toss-up. Switzerland on paper should be honestly beating Turkey, but I picked Turkey as my dark horse team, so I'm not going to go against that. Turkey, honestly, I think could get a result against Italy. I think that maybe they can draw. I'm hoping that kind of happens because I'd love to see Turkey go pretty far.
I don't know if that argument you just made, on paper, I think Turkey is a much better team than Switzerland. I mean, look at Turkish players this season. Yilmaz played incredible for Lille.
Mhm.
Obviously Çalhanoğlu close to my heart, but he had another incredible season. Yazici played incredible in Ligue 1. I mean, they have a great attack. Kabak, who had some experience in the Prem this year, he's faced some tough opponents, so I think that's going to help him. They have Demiral who played for Juve. I'd say on paper,
Soyuncu.
Soyuncu as well, but he struggled with injuries this year.
Yeah.
Towards the end, he was good. But, I'd say on paper, Turkey's the better team, but I think everybody's just underestimating them because they've never really done anything. I mean, this is the first national competition, I'd say, where they've had a strong team that can actually lead them somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. So when I trying to counter your thing about Turkey being better on paper, you could argue that absolutely. I mean, you look at the players they have. Mentioning Yazici, I honestly don't think he starts. It's a tough one for me. I think Under starts just because he has been favored in the national team. I mean, look at Under in the Prem. I mean, he hasn't really played for Leicester City. He's been pretty silent. A lot of people wouldn't even know that he's playing at Leicester City right now. Yazici, on the other hand, is actually playing well. Um, I still think Under starts. Soyuncu's obviously starting at center back. I don't think you start Kabak next to him. I think you start Demiral, experience wise, and obviously Kabak not been playing as well. He's been injured as well. But I mean, look at Switzerland's team. I mean, Sommer, Elvedi, Schär, Akanji, Mbabu, Zakaria. I mean,
Shaqiri.
Chaka for you. And then
Well,
Shaqiri, of
maybe
course,
soon not for him, but
Embolo, Rodriguez. I
No.
mean, they've got a solid team. They've got 11 players that I think are very, very good individually. And that's why I was saying it's kind of a toss-up. You don't actually know. On paper, that is why I think Switzerland will win. I mean, they just have better players overall when you do a position comparison. like goalkeeper to goalkeeper, center back to center back, I think Switzerland beats out Turkey. But I do think Turkey will still play better than Switzerland.
Yeah. On to Group B.
On to Group B.
So Group B, we have.
Wait a minute. Before we go on to Group B, I would actually like to spend a little bit more time speaking about the number one team in this group, which is Italy. I'm sure Eco would love to speak about Italy as well. As you said, Eco, this is a completely different team than the one in 2018 that missed out on the World Cup. Obviously, you guys had 2016 Euro heartbreak, losing on penalties to Germany. What is Italy going to do differently than these last two major tournaments they played in?
I mean, I think this is just, as I've said before, this is a completely different team. You know, back the past national tournaments in the past few years that we've played in, we had a very old team, a team that was filled with a lot of experience, but not a lot of quickness, not a lot of playmaking. This year, we're a completely different team. I mean, if you look at our last few matches, you know, 4-0 to Czech Republic, 7-0 to San Marino, 2-0 Lithuania, 2-0 Bulgaria. Something you notice? A lot of clean sheets there. I think our defense is playing incredible right now. Sure, you can say, oh, like those aren't really good teams, but it's always nice if you can clean sheet a team. And it also shows we have an amazing attack. I mean, we have a very good mix of young and old. We have Immobile, who's just a clinical finisher. You just get it into him in the middle, and he's scoring from there. I think this is the best team we've seen since we won the World Cup. I think we're definitely, a lot of people are underestimating us. They're not putting us with, you know, France, Germany, Portugal, all those teams. But I think we're definitely in that conversation. I think we could easily win this year, hoping we get niced with the matchups.
It's for sure a bold claim to say that a very young Italy team compared to what we've seen in the past should get a shout to be up there with teams like Belgium, like France, like Portugal. But I honestly do think that Italy's got a fair shot of taking this pretty far into the Euros. From what we've been able to see, obviously they're not playing the top teams, but a lot of their players in their respective leagues have really done well this year, which I think is something that will only catapult Italy further this year. And we've seen a lot of new youngsters kind of pop up since the last World Cup and Euros. We've seen players like Chiesa who have really kind of turned into a really strong player that will hopefully be able to do just as well in the World Cup, especially against these, I'm going to say with quotes, weaker opponents. No Switzerland, Turkey, or Wales slander, but I think that we can all agree that they're just ranked a bit lower, but I would like to see Italy do pretty well in this.
As Eco said, they've been performing very well as of late with all the clean sheets. 7-0 against San Marino. I mean, San Marino is basically Little Italy, right? I mean, essentially that's what it is. But, you know, hey, clean sheet's a clean sheet. I'll never take anything away from that. An interesting fact, they haven't lost. Italy has not lost since 2018, September. Fantastic
2018.
Run. Currently,
I think it's 27 games.
It's got to be something like that. I mean, they're unbeaten in the Nations League
I think,
and the World Cup qualifiers. That's got to show for something. And then I have a question. You know, Luke mentioned Chiesa. Berardi and Chiesa, are they coming off the bench? Do you start them over Insigne and Immobile? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they're different positions. Insigne is going to be playing on the left, Immobile up top, and then the right side. I think you got to go with Chiesa, although, I mean, they're interchangeable, Chiesa and Berardi. Obviously, Chiesa's an incredible playmaker, but, you know, the Berardi's had a great season. He's older and Chiesa, he knows a little bit more about the game, a little bit more experience, but again, they're kind of interchangeable. I do think, though, I would be worried, and I'm not just saying this because, you know, he broke my heart recently, but I would be a little worried about Donnarumma because, I mean, how is all this drama that's happening around him, that's happened with him in the past month? How do you think that's going to affect his play? Do you think it's going to affect him at all? I mean, it's a known thing within, you know, AC Milan fans that whenever there's contract drama with him, I mean, even recently, you know, towards the end of this season, he starts to not play very well. He makes these little mistakes, costs us goals. Do you think this drama that's happening with him right now in the contract situation, is that going to affect his play?
I think most definitely. It's always going to be something that's in the back of his mind. not only now is going to be the time to prove his worth, that he should be getting that whatever 13 million euros that he's asking for, but also on the other end you have that he still has to perform for his country. He's got to perform as a team player. Obviously, he wants his country to do well, and I think that he's got to take a step back and kind of be able to separate and just say, hey, I'm going to focus on my country, and possibly he'll be able to get a deal done by their first game, which I think is improbable, but that's kind of best case scenario, that they would just be done with that by the time that the Euros really kind of go into full swing. But I think that that's always going to be in the back of a player's mind, especially when it's kind of this high profile, as he's, I mean, Eco's not going to like it, but he's one of the best youngsters in the world, one of the best youngsters in the world. But it's definitely because he's new, because it recently has been Gianluigi Buffon who's been starting for the Italian national team. So he's now coming into this new team with this thing in the back of his mind that's just kind of playing with him a little bit.
So I partially agree. I do think it will affect him, but not by much. I mean, you say he's new to the national team, which he is. He's 20. Is he 21 or 22?
Well, I if you saw my face when Luke said youngster, he's a youngster. He's 22 years old.
22, but he's been.
But he doesn't feel like a youngster.
Well, he's been with AC Milan in the first team for what, 5 years?
Exactly.
6 years. And he's played with the national team as well. This isn't his first rodeo.
So he's young. Have you ever said that before, you go?
No, absolutely not.
This is his first rodeo.
I think it will affect him a little bit, but I think Donnarumma is so developed for such a young player that it's not going to affect him that much. I mean, look who he has in front of him too. If I'm not mistaken, again, I don't know what the starting lineup will be, but if I'm not mistaken, he's going to have Bonucci and Chiellini, the two most experienced center backs possibly in world football. I mean, it's definitely some of the most experienced. He's going to have players around him, and I don't think individually that's really going to mess with him at all, the whole contract situation and all that. It can mess with anybody. It happens. But like I said, Donnarumma is so developed for a young player that I just don't think it's going to affect him to the point where he's making careless mistakes on the field.
And I'm looking at the lineup from their game against Czech Republic, where they played a 4-3-3. It was a 4-0 win, obviously a clean sheet against a team that's not horribly terrible. And their starting back four was Florenzi, Bonucci, Chiellini, and Spinazzola, which I would say, I'm sorry for butchering all the names, Ego, but that was a pretty strong back four, a really defensive back four, which is why I think it's okay to play a bit more of an attacking midfield and forwards, because you've got really a strong defensive core, which Italy is really known for, having a strong defensive core. But I think they're staying with what they're known for here.
See, I'd actually argue with you. I think our weakest point is our back line. Obviously, Chiellini and Bonucci, they're great players, don't get me wrong. I think their age and lack of pace is going to affect us a little bit versus, like Mbappe, Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, all these quick players.
Hard to go against those players no matter what.
Yeah, but I think, our weakest point is Florenzi and Spinazzola, because Calabria being out, he would be starting at the right back position, but he's out with injury, so that's a tough blow for Italy. Florenzi, he's okay, don't get me wrong, he's a good player. Spinazzola, on the other hand, I don't love having him in the starting lineup. I don't like him. He's not great defensively or offensively. He's kind of just like there, and occasionally he'll make a stop, occasionally he won't. It's kind of just a 50-50 with him. So I'd argue this is one of our weaker back lines besides center backs, but our fullbacks I think this year are not amazing. But our midfield and attack, I think we have one of the stronger front three in this tournament.
Just a quick question: what's the deal with Romagnoli? Is he injured or is he just not being selected?
He was battling an injury, and he wasn't playing a lot for us, so they decided, for this tournament, just take a break. World Cup, we want you healthy, we want you ready.
And he will start in the World Cup, you think, over Bonucci, Chiellini?
I think by that time, he's got to be gone. I mean,
Gone.
the man is.
He's-
But again, at that point, we might have they have a Cherby who's been pretty good
Yes.
for Lazio
Yeah.
recently. He's taken a dip in form, but he's usually solid.
Cherby, that's how you say his name, but Cherby.
Yeah,
You gotta teach us more Italian pronunciations, man.
C's is a ch and ch is a c.
And the double C is what?
K.
Oh, that confuses me. That confuses me so much.
That's too
Cherby.
much.
Okay. Group B, anybody?
Well, hold on, wait.
Oh, more Italy, more Italy.
No,
You
double
could talk
C
about
can be
Italy all
ka.
day.
No, double C can be ka or chi. Like it depends.
I'm trying to
can't
think
do
of a
this.
soccer player that's got
Uh,
a double C.
Like Bonucci.
Bonucci.
Double
Oh,
C is
Bonucci.
Yeah.
it can be a chi, but like
that's
what is
what
a double C?
that's what
not a
confused me
C.
is Bonucci and then Chiellini, but it should be in English it would be
Yeah,
Chiellini and Bonucci.
Yeah.
So it's just completely like the opposite. I gotta do more.
Yeah, you have
research on that.
Chiesa. It's not Chiesa.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Ciro Immobile, which is a CI.
Can the single C be K as well?
No, it's
So-
always cha.
Because then
So his
it'd
name
be
is
Ciro Immobile.
Federico? Because his name is Federico. In that case, would it be Federico? or
I think it's a
Federico?
double C. No,
No, it's a single
I'm
C.
looking.
Not
I'm
a double C?
looking.
Pretty sure it's a single C.
Single C.
Then it's
F
just
E
an
D E
exception.
R I C O.
Nah,
Okay,
that's
so
just an exception.
There's some
Yeah.
exceptions. Okay. That's too confusing. Any last comments on Italy, Turkey, Switzerland, Wales?
I think we should take a solid look at Group B.
We move.
which I think this would be a pretty easy group. I'll happily start. So the group is Belgium, Denmark, Finland, Russia, and I'm going with them in that order as well. Obviously, Belgium is a really strong team. I think that's almost enough said. Denmark has got a couple very talented players. I think that's about it. And then, I actually think Russia is going to finish above Finland. Belgium, Denmark, Russia, Finland.
Belgium, Denmark,
Yeah.
Russia, Finland. I have the same thing as well.
Yeah.
Same.
Who's from Finland?
Puki and Radecki.
Yeah, that's it. And then Russia, but Russia, they did well. Where was it? What did they do
World
well?
Cup.
at?
2018
World
World
Cup.
Cup.
20.
I mean, they were probably doping, but then again, they were doing well. They were actually playing a pretty solid. They did get some easy draws.
Home
which were
soil as
questionable.
well.
Yeah, but they were playing well. Getting third isn't, I don't think, really going to matter. But Belgium, for sure, number one. No doubt about that. That's just like the last group with Italy.
Listen, I think Belgium's gonna easily top this group, but I think they are very overhyped in this tournament. They're not as good as everybody says they are. They're definitely not better than France. I wouldn't even say they're better than Portugal. I think they're far overhyped. But I do think a lot of people are underestimating this Denmark team. I mean, you got names like Eriksson Kjær, who's been incredible recently, and that's not AC Milan bias. He's been amazing. Braithwaite, Daniel Voss, who's playing in Spain. Hold on.
Poulsen.
Hoiberg. Whoa. Hoiberg, who's been incredible for Tottenham. Who am I missing, Aiden? Why are you freaking out?
Christensen.
Daniel Voss, Vestergaard.
Is he?
Well,
Oh,
now
he's
you're naming
Danish?
Vestergaard
Wait,
is not.
Christensen is Danish?
Yeah, he's gonna start next to Kier. Vestergaard won't see a
Oh,
minute in this
oh
tournament.
wow, that backline's gonna see. Oh,
I
wow,
promise
that
you Vestergaard
backline's
won't
gonna
play a
see.
single match.
Mail from Atalanta. Braithwaite, Poulsen,
He's just reading up
Skull.
Danish players.
No, Mail is good. He's a good
Dolberg
right back.
from Nice. I just know a bunch of these guys from FIFA, to be honest, but
Fair
it
enough.
doesn't look like a horrible team.
Well, listen,
Anyway.
I think they're going to be a good team. They managed to draw versus Germany, I think, earlier this month.
Okay.
And that's really the only test they've had recently. The last time they played Belgium, I think, was Nations League, and I think Belgium won, if I'm not mistaken. But they haven't really
It was
been tested.
4-2 Belgium
Yeah,
in
they haven't-
November 2020.
Yeah, they haven't really been tested, and I mean, I think they're a really good team, and a lot of people are underestimating. But the main thing is, Belgium is just not that good. They're far overhyped.
I think their age is what's going to hold them back more than anything. I watched a YouTube video that kind of went into this. They're an aging team. This really will probably be one of the last major international competitions where they'll be able to compete. Well, not compete at the highest level, but kind of be in the running to be the best. Because we're seeing we're seeing a lot of players who are just getting older in their squad. You've got your Romelu Lukaku's. Kevin De Bruyne is obviously still almost at the peak of his career, you could say. But he's for sure getting a little bit older. You got Dries Mertens. Am I missing people?
Eden Hazard.
Hazard,
there. Well,
Courtois.
Yeah. So there's a lot of names that come when you mention age with this team, which I think is a really interesting conversation, especially with how fast the Euros are played. You have so many games coming at you at once that I think age and injuries may be something that hold them back from their full potential.
And we mustn't forget the starting center backs, Vertonghen and Alderweireld, also
that are
getting older.
Old.
Yeah, they're getting older. So, first of all, the large concerns for me, Eden Hazard has been injured, obviously. He hasn't played for Belgium since 2019, except he recently came on as a sub. De Bruyne still injured from that Champions League final. It is a concern whether or not he gets to play in the first game or even the second and third.
Well, their first game's against Russia.
Right. Belgium, not that I care about FIFA rankings because I think they're just absolutely terrible, but they are ranked number 1 in the world. You could say they're overrated. That's fair. I can listen to arguments about that whenever. Lukaku is a different animal while playing for Belgium. First of all, he's had a fantastic season for club, and he's going to have an insane Euros. That's my prediction. I think Lukaku is just going to absolutely ball out. I think he could be the top goal scorer. He's fantastic. If De Bruyne is out, one player that we must look out for in the Belgium squad is Yuri Tielemans. He might even play if De Bruyne is back. You don't know. I'm not going to predict that, but Yuri Tielemans is one of the most underrated players in the Prem. I've seen what he can do against Chelsea. It's not great.
Bang!
Obviously, one goal is not going to, determine whether or not he's a good player or not. But besides that goal that he scored, Tielemans has always been an incredible player to watch. Very, very underrated. Belgium's always been one of my favorite teams to watch. I think that they could really, really make it far. I don't think they're going to win, but I really hope that they can make it far. And I think they absolutely will. Maybe semifinal.
I disagree. I think they're gonna make it a couple rounds, but once they face an actual good team, their backline is just gonna let them down. I mean, look at the backline they've been running in their past few games. It's a 3-back with Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and Denayer. And if you're running a 3-back, you need pacier defenders, and you need very experienced and defenders who can take on the Ronaldos, the I don't know why I'm blanking out on anyone. The Mbappes. Yeah, all those kind of people. You need fast defenders. You can't have Vertonghen and Alderweireld playing as wide center backs. They don't have the pace. They don't have the skill anymore. I mean, they're don't get me wrong, they're still good, but they're far past their prime. Yeah, and they're not on the level where they should be starting for their country.
I have a question. Sorry to cut you guys off, but I have one question about the 3-back. Do they stick with the 3-back, or do they stick with Alderweireld, Vertonghen, and then put Meunier at right back and then find a left back?
Well, what they've been doing the past 4 games maybe, is this 3-back system. And I mean, I would go with a 4-back with, I think they're much stronger in a 4-back, but I guess this 3-back is working for the Belgium coach. I don't know why they would do it. I mean, you have to look recently, they just have not been playing well. They drew to Greece. They barely beat Croatia 1-0. They went on and beat Belarus 8-0.
They drew to Czech Republic.
Yeah, drew to Czech Republic. And then, if you go further than that, it starts to get old. But I just don't think they're the best team. They have a great attack, but midfield and defense, I get Kevin De Bruyne and Tillmans, but besides that, midfield and defense is very lackluster.
Fully agreed.
Group C? Oh.
We're going way too fast in these groups. I want to dissect these teams a little bit more because I want to talk about Russia for a second, and then after we talk about Russia, I would like to speak a little bit about Finland because I have pretty mixed opinions about them. But Russia, the winners of the first ever European Championship, if you guys didn't know, which is weird to think about. I'm guessing Yashin probably carried them
Yeah.
to the champ. I mean, I can't imagine anyone else did. But Russia's a team that I was actually considering putting over Denmark solely because of what they did in the 2018 World Cup. No one really excites me in the side. Zuba,
Golovin. Yeah, the only person that comes to my
Golovin,
mind
fine.
is Golovin.
Zuba's doing numbers in the Russian Premier League. That speaks for itself. I mean, whether or not you want to consider the Russian Premier League a reliable source on whether or not he's going to perform in the Euros. But then you look at
Mario
like Miranchuk, who's
Fernandez.
supposed to be one of the best players, definitely one of the best strikers in Russia. He's not really doing anything in the Serie A for Atalanta. He's not doing much. Nothing really too special. I mean,
I don't think he really plays.
that's what I'm saying. You think Russia can maybe pull off another underdog performance like they did in 2018, or is this just nothing?
Matters if they get tested for roids or not.
They're not making it out of the group, so let's just say that.
Keep in mind, 4 third-place teams can make it into the.
They're not going to be one of those four.
All I'm saying is Portugal in 2016 finished third, made it into the knockout rounds, and then won.
Okay, that's Portugal. We're talking about Russia right now.
Hey.
We're talking about Ronaldo and Portugal.
first
And,
of
We'll
all,
get
not
there.
Ro-
Don't worry.
Not
we'll get
Ronaldo
there.
in Portugal. Ronaldo was
Why?
injured.
In
Well,
the final. In the final.
He did score 6 out of
carried
their
them for
9
the rest
goals.
of the
Yeah.
rounds. You can't say
Yeah.
no Ronaldo.
They scored
Didn't play in the
9
final.
goals in the entire
He's
tournament.
not as good as Eder, who if he
Well.
didn't score that goal would be making sandwiches
good
and
point, good
working
point.
at Jersey Mike's because that's the only thing he's known for in his entire life. Any comments about Russia, or can I move to Finland?
Go on.
Finland's terrible. Okay. That's all I'm going to say.
Just
They're not good. They're not good at all. It is their first ever European Championship. And I did some research and I found out not only is it the first ever Euros, it started in 1960, they've never qualified for the World Cup. And the highest they've ever finished in a European tournament was in the 1912 Olympic Games. They finished 4th. And they haven't qualified for the Olympics since 1980. So this Finland team is terrible. However, I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably the best Finnish team of all time.
Litmanen.
Litmanen didn't do anything. He didn't play in the Euros, World Cup, or Olympics.
Oh yeah, good point. So
Timo
Timo
Pukki's clear.
and Radecki from
Radecki's
Doesn't
clear.
matter.
Leverkusen.
It's Finland. I mean, doesn't matter. I'm
like
sorry, but who
Finland.
cares?
no
if it's
Finland slander.
Yeah,
but
what's
they're
wrong
Who
with
cares if it's
really
their best
bad,
team?
but
It's not
they're
a
really
Their
good team
jerseys are
anyways.
sick. They have like the Finnish flag on their
Hey,
jerseys.
you'll
that
have
is
to watch
actually-
them
It's like
for a
this
few
one now. It's
games
like the
in
Greek
groups.
flag, but it's like Finnish. It's so sick. Might have to get that one.
Yeah.
100%. Who's the other Finnish guy? They have one other Finnish dude, like Lode or something like that.
I wouldn't know.
It's Finland, bro. It's Finland.
that says enough, I think.
No, I
Uh,
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Group C.
Name
Group C.
2. All right, so
C.
Group C, we've got Austria, Netherlands, North Macedonia, and Ukraine. For me, I am going Netherlands, Austria, Ukraine, North Macedonia.
I think I'd have to agree with him. I mean, if Netherlands doesn't top this group, I don't know what's happening over there. I mean, you just have to. Austria is gonna get second, but like they're nowhere near Netherlands. I mean, incomparable.
I respectfully disagree with you guys' decision. I do think Netherlands top the group. Don't get me wrong. Ukraine finishes above Austria, in my opinion. You can give me that look all the time. I have very high hope.
What?
I have very
You're-
high hopes for Ukraine.
You're dead serious, aren't you?
I'm absolutely
Zinchenko
serious.
will carry them single-handedly.
The
That
thing
is
about,
the
okay,
only player that
you want to
they
know
have.
because I actually did do sort of a deep.
Actually, hold on.
Well, don't.
Malinowski is very good.
Well, listen, I did a bit of a deep dive in Ukraine because I wanted to focus on Ukraine and Austria because I knew that they were going to be like this, and I figured you guys were going to put Austria over Ukraine. The one thing that Ukraine has is unpredictability. They have pretty much every position you can think of. You don't know who's going to start. So there's not really a real way you can really prepare for the games. I mean, they've got competition in every position. That's one thing that I think Ukraine has that other teams maybe don't have. Obviously, the big teams, the big dogs like France, Germany, they have depth, but you have an idea of who's going to start. Ukraine, you don't, in my opinion. You could switch goalkeepers every game, if any. You know what I mean?
I think on the other side, though, you've got to look at Austria's defense. They've got a really
Alaba is the only person you know in
and
that defense,
Hinteregger. from
Yeah,
Frankfurt, and Lazaro. I know him from FIFA.
yeah, of course.
But they've also got Marcel Sabitzer, which
Yeah,
we won't go into in this episode, but he's recently transfer listed for a surprisingly cheap 14 million.
wow,
Really?
wow.
Yeah, I really want Arsenal to buy him.
What would you?
You're not
Because-
paying money. You're not spending.
No,
Yeah,
I
relax.
know, but when Bundesliga came back, I watched Red Bull and fell in
He's
love
good.
with him.
What would you
but
pay for him?
13 million. Yeah.
No, sorry. What
I would
mean, what is
easily
he
pay
worth?
him the 35s.
Yeah,
I would say
maybe
yeah, I would
40.
say 30.
he's really good. He's really good. So, but I think where they lack is offense, obviously. So, I think we're just gonna have to, well, we're just gonna have to let them
Arnautovic?
play, I guess. Yeah. We're just gonna have to kind of see what happens. This should be an interesting one, but it would be really embarrassing if the Netherlands don't top the group.
But,
That'd be a true embarrassment.
well, what's interesting is they didn't qualify for the 2018 World Cup
I
or
know.
the Euro 2016,
So
which
crazy.
actually shocked me. I had thought they did qualify for the Euro 2016, but they didn't. We should talk a little bit about the Netherlands first, I think. Big names not going to be in the Netherlands squad. Virgil van Dijk, Donny van de Beek. Two big names missing. For me, the key, the 3 Ds. All right? De Jong, De Ligt, and Depay.
I thought you were gonna say
Those are the
That
three.
was the cringiest thing I've ever
Then you
heard.
also then you also have, at least I know what I'm talking about. And then you also have Wijnaldum, who has been
Yeah.
Liverpool's most consistent player of the season, bar none. The
the
Netherlands have a
knife
very,
man.
very strong side. Depay is getting older, but he's clinical in front of net. I picked him up in my fantasy team. I think he's going to bag in goals. The Netherlands are such an unpredictable team in terms of they could lose to many teams. They could win against the big teams and lose against the small teams. Whatever. They had a very good Nations League in 2019. It's really a toss-up. They're going to make it out of the group, and I'm not going to assess them any further until they make it out of the group and we see who they play in the knockout stages.
I think a name that Aiden didn't bring up a lot, but I think will be very, very big for the Netherlands is De Vrij, who actually had an incredible season for Inter. Usually he's not, one of the first names that comes up in your mind, but he's been incredible. Gravenberch as well for Ajax has been amazing, and
won't
I
start.
actually think. No, okay, but he's going to come on and he's going to play very well. He
He'll be
played
fine.
very well in their friendlies that they've played.
I love Gravenberch, but I
He's too young.
yeah, he's too young. Maybe in the next Euros he'll ball out, but he's not. He'll ball out in the U21 Euros. He's just Gravenberch
Well, I'm
isn't.
looking at their squad. He's in their
Well,
first team.
he's in the squad, but
Yeah.
and he
No, but
will
he
come
comes
off the bench.
on.
He
No, he comes
Eco's
on.
right. He will come off the bench, but Gravenberch is not going to be anything special, in my opinion.
All right, well, hold on.
Finish
Go ahead.
I think where they lack is actually goalie. Krul just does not cut it nowadays.
Yeah.
He won't be the starter.
Yeah, he will.
Yes, he will.
Stecklenburg
No.
will start.
From Ajax.
Yes. It's
Hmm.
there's 3 goalkeepers they have. They have Sillessen, they have Stecklenburg, and they have Krul.
Selson's not on the squad list.
Oh, he's on the squad. Oh, he's in the.
No, I'm looking. It's Kroll, Stecklenburg, and Bizzo.
Okay, he was in the
Um,
preliminaries. I guess he wasn't as good. But no, it's got to be Stecklenburg over Krul. 100%.
Krul's been the favorite. That out of 4 out of the 5 past matches, Krul's been the starter. Just in the most recent one was Straven, whatever.
Stecklenburg.
Stecklenburg, whatever.
I mean, look where Krul's playing, and look where Stecklenburg's playing.
I'm just saying that's what the Netherlands coach is doing.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, but
starting
He's
Krul.
got his own favoritism. I think we should take a look at their attackers. I've got it pulled up. It's Luke de Jong, Berghuis from Feyenoord, Depay, Weghorst, and Malen.
I
I
think
don't
their
know.
offense has just got to be get it to Depay.
Yeah, but it is a strong offense. You've got Memphis Depay, who had a good season. You've got Weghorst, who had a really good season. And then you've got De Jong, who had a decent season. So I think that they're not particularly lacking in that department. And then another name that we haven't mentioned yet is Nathan Ake, was really good. Hasn't played as much as we all kind of thought that he was going to, but he's still a really talented kind of quick center back to deal with kind of the quicker strikers of the world. So I think that he can for sure be a player that's going to be used almost as a utility. So if they're going against a team that's got a faster striker, that he's going to come on and hopefully be able to deal with that striker because of his speed and athleticism.
I don't actually have anything to say, but I was gonna ask you a question of where do you put Ake, but you just answered the question. So
I do want to talk about a big game to look at when talking about Netherlands is, I'd say the best test that they've had was earlier this year when they played versus Turkey, and Turkey just dominated them the entire game. They beat them 4-2, and a lot of people were kind of clowning on Netherlands for this because nobody had really realized how good Turkey was. And I think this game really showed us that maybe their lack of defense is going to be too much for their offense. Their offense won't be able to recover for the defensive mistakes that they make. I just don't know. I think this Netherlands team is either going to be really good or really bad. It's difficult with them, especially with the injuries. Losing Virgil, as we saw with Liverpool this year, it was awful. For Netherlands, it's going to be awful for them. I think they're not the strongest defensively, but their attack is very good.
So we all agree that the Netherlands will finish top. We all agree, except for the Ukraine, Austria, but relatively on how the group will pan out. Why is it that we all put North Macedonia at the bottom, considering they have a pretty great striker, Goran Pandev?
Yeah, that's the only player I know, and that's why.
Alioski.
That's it. So
yeah,
I think that speaks more than a whole kind of tangent can, because when you look at a team and depth matters, but having a starting lineup matters too. So I don't know. I think that they're just pretty clearly the weakest.
Yeah, they also have zero experience in any Euros. Don't even get me started on the World Cup or the Olympics. They weren't even a country until 1992. Okay, they were Yugoslavia, so it doesn't really count. Pandev is 35, which I thought he was slightly younger. I also found out, it was a few days ago, I actually found out randomly that he started for Inter Milan when they won the treble, and he started in the Champions League final. I had no idea. I thought he was sort of a random player, but he's actually a very well-known, respected player. But Pandev is as old as my grandfather. Like, that's really all they have. They have Alioski from Leeds, who's a good little player, and they have Pandev. That's it. I mean, I love North Macedonia because their flag is cool, but that's about all they've got. I mean, that's literally all they have.
They have the same flag as Arizona. Looks very similar.
It actually does look similar. In my eyes, North Macedonia has two things to look forward to in this tournament: the fact that they get to play in this tournament for the first time in their country's history, and that the tournament's only 3 games long, so they won't have to suffer for too much. Right? That's all they have to look forward to. They can play in the tournament and then just go home, because it's not going to be a fun tournament for them at all.
I think they'll have a good time.
Maybe. Probably not.
Not focusing on football the most. Just having a good time.
Just having a good time. Why not?
Yeah.
Group D?
All right. Yeah.
Let's get into it.
So we've got Croatia, Czech Republic, England, Scotland. For me, it is England, Croatia, Scotland, Czech Republic. England are looking really strong. They've got depth. They've got good starters. And we'll get a bit more into that in a second. Croatia, was it the World Cup or the Euros that they did really well in? Obviously, that was a very, thanks to Luka Modric. And
he won Ballon d'Or that year.
Yeah, he won Ballon d'Or because of this, but you can all you want, but he was really playing out of his mind. That was kind of the peak of his career. Mm-hmm. And then Scotland, they've got Tierney, they've got McGinn. That's all they need. And then Czech Republic has, I think their biggest would be Souček, who's been obviously great this year, but I think
Kufal.
Oh yeah. But I think the 3 and 4 is interchangeable for sure. England is the one for me. I could see them going pretty far into the competition, and Croatia once again has another strong team.
you did say the 3 and 4 are interchangeable. I am going to interchange those.
There you go.
To me, Scotland doesn't have enough experience
They've
to finish
got
in the
Tierney.
public.
Best left back in the world.
No,
No,
and
he's
also
not.
you
He's
forgot
not.
McTominay, by the way, a big
Good
one.
point.
Is Tierney gonna start for Scotland?
He
Yes,
will, and
most
so will
definitely. Oh,
Robertson.
and they've got Robertson.
They'll start
Yeah.
both of them.
They're gonna.
You think
they're-
like one
well,
right back, one left back?
No. What they've been doing is a 3-back, 5-back kind of thing, where Robertson's like the left center back.
And
He
then
still goes high, but Tierney goes like high and inside. It's like
it's like
the
playing with two left
craziest
backs.
thing ever to watch. Like Tierney's basically a left winger, which he is for Arsenal because we don't really have a left winger. But it's very interesting watching them. I was watching their highlights. I forget who it was against, but it was just the craziest thing ever because there's two of like kind of the top left backs in the world.
Yeah.
Both playing left back, and they both play like left backs. So it's just a very interesting team to watch when you've got two of your strongest players play the same position. You've kind of got to figure it out. And they're both lefties, so you don't want to play them on the right side.
Well, that's what's funny about when you're a nation like Scotland who doesn't have the best players in the world. When your two best players arguably are the same position, you got to try and integrate them both into the starting 11, which is what they've done, and it's going to be interesting to see it play out. But Scotland for me finishing at the bottom, but I'm very excited to watch them. One, because I'd love to see Billy Gilmore come off the bench and hopefully play well. Obviously, he's been dealing with bad injuries and has really been hurting his career. But I'm also excited to see McTominay. I love John McGinn. He's a player I enjoy watching. Tierney and Robertson as well. It's going to be a lot of fun for these youngsters. I mean, Scotland hasn't played in the Euros since '96. So it's been a very long time since they qualified. I remember the day they qualified on a penalty shootout, and everybody was so happy about it. It's just nice to see that these young Scottish kids are getting a chance to play in, one of the best tournaments in the world.
Listen, I think I agree with Luke on this one, actually. I think it's going to go England, Croatia, Scotland, Czech Republic. England easily going to top this group. England's not going to bring it home. They're not winning it this year.
It's not coming home.
Their team is far too young to win this tournament compared to the rest of the teams.
They're ranked number
I think
4.
Croatia could be a little bit of a dark horse. Not go too far, but surprise people in the early games. I think their team is a little bit older, but again, I think it's still a pretty strong team. I mean, people don't really realize Modric is still playing very good. Rebic had a great season with AC Milan. Perisic still playing very well the past few years. Kovacic, obviously. Brozovic, who just won with Inter. He had a great season. They have Kramaric, who played amazing in the Bundesliga. They have a lot of pretty good players. Not a great back line, which obviously is going to be very important, but attack and midfield, I'd say they're one of the more underrated teams. I think they're going to be able to do a little bit, not go too far into the tournament, but they're going to surprise some people. But I mean, England has to top this group. If they don't, then it's a bit of an embarrassment.
So I know you said England should top the group, and they will top the group. When you say Croatia is a dark horse, what would you give them any chance to possibly overtake England?
I said a dark horse, like the first few rounds. They're going to surprise people. Not
What
like they're not going to go deep.
What if they beat England in the group stage? Is that
they
no?
won't.
I don't. They don't have, especially with the age of their team too. They don't have the energy to go far. If they win one game, they're not going to be able to go every single week, like every single day play. Their age is just way too high for the team.
So I've picked a very arguable / controversial England starting 11 that I'd like to read out to you boys, and then you guys can dissect it and make any changes you'd like. There is maybe a little bit of bias in here, but think of the mind
There's
of
a lot of bias in here.
Think of the inside of the mind of Gareth Southgate.
Jamie
What do you think
Abraham
he would
up
play?
top.
Yeah, definitely not. He's not even in the squad.
He's not
Okay,
even on the squad.
I've got, and please, I'll say the whole thing, and you can make fun of me all you want as soon as I'm done. I've got Pickford in goal, Chilwell at left back, Reece James at right back. Since Harry Maguire could be hurt, I have Walker and Stones at center back. If Henderson is still hurt, I have Calvin Phillips, and Declan Rice at CDM, Mason Mount at the 10, and then the front three: Sterling, Kane, Rashford. Luke, what's that?
That's
What did I just tell me what I've done
Well,
wrong?
can I
here.
just go with my squad
Sure.
because
Yes.
they're gonna play I believe they're gonna play a 3-back. It's worked for them in the past.
I don't think they are. They're
I
just
think
not
I
playing a
think they're going
3-back.
to.
0% chance.
No, they're not playing.
I think they're going to go Pickford, center backs of Walker, and then Maguire if he's healthy. If not, it'll be Stones, and then
Tyrone Mings, James
Connor Cody possibly. I don't
over
know.
Reece James.
At center back.
I mean, Reece James has played pretty well at center back.
Well, then it would be a 4-back if you're playing with Reece James.
No,
but,
take out Cody is what I mean.
but
You're
then
starting Cody. Hold on. What?
Because Maguire's hurt and he doesn't want to
yeah,
start.
because
Mings.
I want to start Maguire.
By the way,
But I think that Luke Shaw for sure needs a big shout.
where's he
he's
gonna play center
obviously
mid?
a left back.
I thought you were playing a 3-back.
Yeah, Luke Shaw will start too. This
Yeah,
is FIFA. We're playing Reece James, Luke Shaw, and
enough.
Kyle Walker at center back.
Just ditch the 3-back.
Yeah,
Go to.
But I think that for sure Luke Shaw deserves a really good shout because he's played well this year. And I don't want to discredit anything that Chilwell has done this year because I've been a big fan of him this year. I as a left back, I've got a lot of respect for Chilwell
Left
because
back.
I'm a left back. I've got a lot of respect for Chilwell and what he's done. Obviously, he's coming off of winning the Champions League, which is kind of the peak of European football. And you know, it's not an easy feat. But I think you also have to take a look at Luke Shaw because obviously he's not super young, but he's still a talent, and he's really kind of proven his own worth this year. In what's been a really weird year. So I think that he's got to get some credit. Will he start over Chilwell? Probably not, but I would like to see him play at least a little bit. And then hopefully Harry Maguire can get healthy and get into the squad because he's obviously a massive part of this squad. And I still think he's underrated.
All right. I'm gonna tell you guys what the lineup should be.
Okay.
Some of these players didn't get picked at all. Some of these players. Okay, by the way, this is without
Grealish.
injuries. Without injuries. No.
Trent.
Goalkeeper, Dean Henderson. Right back, Trent. If not Trent, I'm gonna go with
Kieran Trippier,
Juan Bissaka. That's what he's gonna say.
Kyle Walker.
Reece James, man.
I would say I just love Wan-Bissaka. I think he's a great player.
Southgate
Tomori
doesn't.
at center back. Hold on, Tomori at center back.
Wait, real quick.
Harry-
So far, you've picked every player that hasn't been in the squad.
Absolutely, absolutely.
No,
I
not
agree
Dean.
with
Harry.
Brooke.
Hold on,
Dean
Harry.
got picked.
Harry Maguire.
I
at
thought
the
he was
other
going to say
center
Harry
back.
Kane.
Luke Shaw at left back. The two DMs, James Ward-Prowse, and Declan Rice.
At
are my two
DM?
DMs.
No,
Ward-Prowse at DM.
no Jordan Henderson.
A bit box to box. I'm not starting him. I think he's a bit.
Okay.
He's a bit aged, and he didn't age
Alright,
nicely.
Not age
left
like a
mid-
fine
Yeah,
wine.
I think he has. He
Not.
was-
Left side, I'm going Rashford. Cam, I'm going Grealish. Right side, I'm going Sancho. Up top, Harry Kane.
Kane.
I mean, that's a bold line.
That is the lineup that would bring
Pretty
it home.
good.
But some
I
of
don't
those
think
players
so.
just didn't get picked.
If that was the lineup that would bring it home, then at least I don't know, at least 4 of those players would have gotten picked.
The fact that
Yeah.
Tamori didn't get picked, I'm not even biased. He should have 100%.
I think he
been
should've
picked.
gotten
I'm picking Tamori over Connor Cody any day of the week.
True, but they're not gonna. None of them are
But
gonna
wouldn't
play.
Cody's a vet in the
I don't
English
care.
program
Tamori's
now.
better. They have enough vets. Look, their team is so old. They have enough vets.
They've
What do
got a
you
lot.
mean?
They've got a good bit of youngsters though, which I think
They
you've
don't
gotta
need
give
any more
credit for.
vets. They
Wait,
don't
wait.
need any more vets.
Okay, so here's my question. You said Grealish starts. Who did you say started at the 10, Luke? Or who
Oh, I
would you
didn't.
start?
I didn't get there, but
Sorry.
probably Mason Mount
Okay,
or
where does Foden stand?
Foden. Yeah.
Would you start Foden or Mount?
I mean, listen, they're playing a lot of games, so it's going to be interchangeable.
Yeah,
but I
right.
think that is their strongest lineup.
No, but okay, but considering now that Grealish isn't part of the squad,
Yeah.
does Foden or Mount play in your eyes? What do you think?
I
Because
think
obviously
he does.
Southgate
At the 10.
prefers Mount. A lot of people prefer Foden. What do you think, Ika?
Mount, just due to experience. I mean, he's coming off a Champions League winning season. You got to be going with Mason Mount. Obviously, Foden and Mount are going to be very interchangeable.
Yeah, they're going to be.
It's going to be it's literally going to be one game Foden, one game Mount. But I would say you just have to pick Mount. He played an incredible season this year. You just have to.
That's fair. And you know, obviously Wan-Bissaka and Trent. I mean, if they're playing a 4-back, in my opinion, Reece James is 100% playing. If Maguire's injured, but if Maguire's not injured, then you're playing Stones, Maguire, and then Reece James could very well be on the bench, and Kyle Walker could take over, which I would hate to see.
It would
but
make sense, though.
It would make sense, but like, I would prefer Reece James, but I don't watch Kyle Walker enough. I have the legitimate Chelsea bias. In my opinion, the legitimate Chelsea bias that I have is the fact that I watch them week in and week out, so I know all of their strengths and all their weaknesses.
Yeah. And I think that one of the main reasons that Trent hasn't been selected is because of his biggest weakness, which we all know is his, defense, which really isn't great. And I think that,
or his injury. I mean,
well, that doesn't, but that even prior to this, even prior to the injury, we were seeing players like, they've got a lot of right backs. They've got a big kind of list to choose from. They've got Kyle Walker, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Trent, Reece James, and it's not the easiest selection ever, obviously. But I think that Trent really kind of fits into the Liverpool system, and he fits really well into the Liverpool system, but that's not the system that England's going to play. And I think that a lot of players that have been selected by Gareth Southgate are players that are just going to slot right into his system. And Trent has played such a different system that it's just not going to be that easy for him to go over and just kind of pop right into the English system. And obviously his injury is really unfortunate, and hopefully it's nothing long, because we all love to watch him because he is great, but we'll have to see.
But there's just players like Lingard and Ward-Prowse and Wan-Bissaka. It just shows you how good the England squad is for those players aren't even making it to their national team, right? I mean, Ward-Prowse, I think he's very, very solid. He's very good. Lingard, I understand the selection, but at the same time, he's been in form. He's been fantastic as well. It's just, I don't want to question Southgate because I hate questioning professional managers. It's their job, but you do wonder what goes behind that decision.
Yeah, I think that the Ward-Prowse selection is also a brutal one, but I don't know. He's obviously got a reason for what he's doing. Obviously, James Ward-Prowse has been amazing this year, especially in his free kicks and delivery into the box. We've seen what he's able to do. He's had, more than a couple just fantastic free kick goals. And just for that reason, most countries would want to select a player like that, but it makes you want to look into the future and just say, wow, this England team in 3, in 2, in 4 years is going to be really strong and a true contender for the title, which gets me excited.
The World Cup title, you think they can?
Any title.
Any title.
All the above.
Well, I think that's enough of England. I think that's enough of Group D.
Group E, lads?
Group E, we got Poland,
Let's do it.
Slovakia, Spain, Sweden.
Ooh.
I feel like this is one of the easier groups.
Yeah.
It's going to be Spain.
For Slovakia.
Yeah.
Then Poland.
Should be.
Then Sweden. And then Slovakia.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's put Sweden ahead.
That's what I said.
Wait,
You said Sweden, Slovakia?
Sweden, absolutely.
No, I meant
Luke.
Sweden. I meant Sweden in front of Poland.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
Poland.
No.
I thought that's what he was saying.
He said Spain, Poland, Sweden,
No,
Slovakia.
I know what he said. I put the same thing. I thought you were. Just
I'm in agreement with that as well.
I don't want to be mean, but like if you don't have that, there's something wrong because there's no question of that. That's
See that because then we're all gonna look bad if there's an upset.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Sweden,
no
Spain's gonna get
question.
last.
Yeah.
Spain's gonna get last. Alvaro Morata, the Spanish Timo Werner, is gonna. Yes.
I think Timo Werner's the German Alvaro Morata.
Did
No,
did
they're
Morata
the
win
same,
a
they're the
Champions
same.
League? Did
He
Morata
has
win a
Yes, he
before, I
did
Champions League?
with Real
Yeah.
Madrid. So
Yeah.
No, I'm talking
They're
about this
actually-
year. I'm
they're
talking
both
about this. I'm
Champions
talking about
League.
this year. I'm talking about this year.
Sure. Whatever.
Listen, I don't think we need to dive too deep into that. I mean,
No.
we can dive a
Talk about
little bit
Spain.
into the Spain. We
Yeah.
can talk about the Spain squad.
Up the
Missing-
Polish boys.
Missing Sergio Ramos. That's a big hit for the Spanish squad. This is another team that's it's a bit of a younger team this year. Their most recent friendly, obviously, I think it was Sergio Biscuits. I know that's not how you say his name.
Biscuits, I love
Got
it.
COVID, so the entire team couldn't play. Spain said, you know what? Let's field our U21 team versus Lithuania, beat them 4-0. I think Spain's always going to be a strong team. Recently, they haven't been incredible, but you know the last heartbreaking defeat versus Russia in pens. They have a bit of a younger lineup this year, and I think they're going to be good. Not great. They're going to be good. They're going to make it deep. They're not going to make it to the final, and they're not going to win.
Straight up. You know,
No, yeah.
Straight up.
you know, I'm not. This isn't a prediction of mine. It is the two center backs that I'd hope they play, and that's two center backs that don't have much experience with the Spanish national team. One who, you know, used to play for the French national team, never actually played, but that's Laporte. I want him starting at center back, and then I have, of course, my Chelsea bias. I want Azpilicueta to get minutes at center back for Spain. I mean, would you start someone like Pau Torres over him? Ego shaking his head.
Yeah.
You would.
Pau Torres has been amazing this year.
But so is Azpilicueta. You got to look at experience as well. You got.
Yeah, but you got to look at position. Aspie is not a true center back. Pau Torres is a true
I mean,
center back.
he's played center back all season this year. He's been one of the best, and he's won a Champions League final. I mean, he captained a Champions League final.
He's played wide center back, like in a three back.
Yeah, in
he's
a
played like
three-back.
the right
Saying more
center back,
compact
which is a little
yeah.
bit more as a right back. He's in the middle of the field. He is the center back. You've got to go with Pau Torres, I think.
Like I said, it's not my prediction. It's just what I would wish to happen because Azpilicueta, he's always been that guy where he's right there. He's right there to play center back for Spain. Then you had Ramos. I mean, he was in the World Cup squad. I don't even think he got a single minute.
No, but he was there.
But he was there. It's kind of like Giroud. He played, but he didn't have a single shot on target. We'll talk about France in a second.
Giroud was
Yeah.
there for the looks.
You-
Ooh. Ooh.
Hey,
Well, that's
listen,
true.
he actually won an award. Not my words. He won an award for the sexiest man in the Prem about 10 years ago. So maybe you're right, Eco. Maybe he was just there for the
Yeah.
looks.
He sells
I don't know.
jerseys.
Spain, topping the group 100%, like we said.
Yeah.
We don't have to touch on the other teams. I mean, we can for a second, but De Gea starts, right, for Spain? That's
I think
Unai
his name's
Simon?
Unai. Unai Simon.
Simon.
He's
Oh,
kind of
he started against
coming.
Poland. It was Unai Simon.
I mean, I think De Gea is it's another one that's just, you know, they might switch it up. De Gea for the experience maybe, but
Yeah.
he's just not been amazing recently. He hasn't been bad, but he just hasn't been amazing.
Yeah.
I'm also interested to see how much playing time is given to Ferran Torres, and Adama Traore is an interesting name I bring up because it's hard to imagine that he does get any playing time with Spain, but he's such a lethal asset. He's like, I feel bad saying this because obviously he's a good player, but he's the worst good player I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Like,
I
he's
could
so
not agree
fast
with you
and
more.
strong, and he whips in
But
balls
he's
really
so bad.
nicely, but he's kind of terrible.
Yeah.
He can shoot from
I-
range too, but he's bad. I don't know how to describe it. I really don't. I love him. I don't know how to describe it.
I think he's just not in the squad.
I'm pretty
He is.
sure he is.
He is in the squad.
Is he?
Yeah.
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 Because I remember reading it and going, "Wait, where's Adama?
No, he's
Are you
there.
sure he's in it?"
They
I'm,
released a
like,
preliminary
90%
squad, which
sure.
he wasn't in, and they added him in the
Yeah.
squad.
But a player that I want to touch on really quickly, we'll go quickly over this, is Gerard Moreno, obviously for Villarreal, who's had a great season again, who I'm starting to feel like is one of the more underrated strikers, at least in La Liga, if not across the major European leagues. But, you know, you've got him, you've got Morata. That's basically their strikers. Yeah. So Murata, obviously up top, he's good when he's good. But like we've said earlier, he's the Spanish Timo Werner. So he misses quite a lot of opportunities, which having a player like that up front, especially if you're going to have a player like Adama Traore on the wing, who's going to be able to get that service in, you've got to have a striker who's going to be able to finish all those chances that are given to them, which is not Alvaro Morata. So I think that's going to be an interesting selection there.
Morata's gonna
You gotta-
bag in goals. I mean,
Yeah, you got to relax
don't
on the
know.
Murata slander.
I don't
He's
know,
just
I don't know, I
he's
don't
not that bad, man.
I
He's
watched a
not that
10-minute
bad.
video of him missing chances.
He's
Look
better
up
than
here.
Aubameyang and Lacazette, so you know what?
Okay,
It's
okay.
Tough,
Have the
man.
Arsenal slander.
is
Have it.
Lacazette gonna start for France?
Absolutely not. Is he even in the squad?
No,
So
no chance. Aubameyang
Is
is
Aubameyang going to be playing in the Euros?
He's the greatest.
Aubameyang plays for his own nation.
He's
Word,
the greatest
word.
Gabonese player of all time.
I don't know. His dad was pretty good.
Could he do a backflip though, or a front flip?
Probably.
You know,
Was
Aubameyang used
he
to
the
play
Black
for France.
Panther? No, he
He
in the
played
youth-
for France with
youth
Mahrez.
academy.
They used to play for France together. How crazy is that?
cool.
Mahrez was in the Euros. That'd be crazy. Or
I
like
love Mahrez.
Edouard
He
Mendy.
probably
as
he
well.
probably wouldn't start.
Not that he would start, but Edouard Mendy
No.
could declare for France if he wanted to. I mean, there's a million players. that
Yeah,
could
there's
declare for-
so many players that could be French.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not could be, are French, but could declare French.
Could declare for France. Yeah, exactly.
Which is a very interesting conversation, but that will take this over 3 hours if we talk
Exactly.
about that.
But
I mean,
Sean,
we're
get
to-
into the big group.
Group of death.
Wait,
I love this
before we do
group
that,
more than anything.
before we do that, I just want to ask, because we talked about Sweden, would they have finished second in the group had Zlatan Ibrahimovic been fit? Alexander Isaac can't do what Ibra can do, but I mean, does Ibra really make that much of a difference for Sweden?
No,
No.
Poland's not a good team, but they're
No,
better
no.
than.
They're
Sweden.
not I would say
They have
Poland's
they have
not
Litwa and they have
horrible.
Zielinski. Give me another.
have Szczesny
Polish
as
man.
well.
Is Czech?
Chesney.
Lu-
Piszczek is no
He's
Yeah,
offense.
retired now, but
Yeah, just
No,
don't.
but he's
why,
just-
why are you putting his name with
Fabianski?
Relax.
Who else?
Fabianski doesn't. It'd be Chesney.
Bednarek.
Fabianski, the goalkeeper.
Huh?
The backup goalie.
Zelensky.
Wow.
I'm just reading names off a list.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Oh.
Again, they have Lewandowski and maybe Zielinski.
Chesney too. He's like this. He's Chesney's the second best.
Chesney.
Okay, I
They've
feel
got
like
a,
every
they've got a
country-
should be Ballon d'Or winner.
Every terrible country usually has like a good goal. Like Hungary, like they have Gulat, like Finland, Radecki, like all the bad
Finland,
countries have pretty
yeah.
good goalkeepers. I feel like I don't know. It's like the
Who's
easiest
North
position to have a good
Macedonia's
player.
goalie.
Who?
North Macedonia's goalie. No,
Pandev.
they're
I don't
bad.
know.
Oh, I was gonna say, tell me you know that, but
That would be. By the way, that would be fantastic. if we
yeah,
could-
that would be like the craziest knowledge.
Who is the Macedonian goalie? Should we look it up? Shall we?
Yeah, I'm going right now. One
Okay,
second.
yeah, you're the Google man.
All right,
We'll move
wow.
on to the group of death. But while you're looking that up, oh, yeah,
Dimitrevsky.
oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
Thank you, Fatma. Stoll. He plays for Rayo Vallecano,
in the Smart Bank or La Liga.
La Liga 2.
So
He
Smart.
had 9 clean sheets this season.
Wow, Macedonia. That's the first ever American to win the Champions League lived in California, but he was like full Macedonian. Like he was like straight up Macedonian. They like immigrated to like Corona, California, or something like that.
Oh, that's neat.
I don't know. It was something
Alright,
like that.
Group F.
Group F.
All
the
right,
Group of
death.
Hungary.
Oh,
Oh.
it makes me so excited.
I can't wait.
France. Germany.
The Germans.
Portugal.
Really?
Hungary.
No,
Yeah,
I think,
In that order.
I don't know. No.
what?
Really? You're
I
not
can't laugh because
putting
it could very well happen.
I'm saying France, Portugal, Germany, Hungary. But
Facts.
no matter what, that third team on the play-in games should comfortably make it through.
They're gonna go into the knockout.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it shouldn't be a whatever, but that third team, I mean, these are 3 of the best teams in the world, obviously, and no disrespect to Hungary, but good luck. They're really not going to get a single point, and you've got to feel a little sad for them. But obviously, France doesn't really need to be talked about. I think we're all in agreement that they're the best, right?
Yeah.
We all Eco, or are we all in
I
agreement that
picked
France
them
is the
to win
best?
the Euros. by
Yeah,
the way.
I've picked them to win the Euros as well. It just makes sense. They've got so much depth. They're so strong, and especially with the recent call up of Karim Benzema, which he did get a little injury recently, which was like it just looked like a dead leg, but hopefully that's nothing long. But they just look so good. They also have made some questionable non-calls, which I think Eco would love to comment on one of
Maignan
them if you want to go ahead.
and Teo.
Hold on. Absolutely.
Teo.
First of all, Magnan did get called.
Did he?
But
Teo is left out. Magnan
Oh, I
might
thought-
start.
he's-
Magnan might be their starter.
I think
Lloris.
Lloris is going to be their starter,
Lloris.
but okay.
Deschamps said Magnan's looked the best in practice.
I
But
don't-
Teo Hernandez not being in the lineup is, I don't even want to get into it because any soccer fan can tell you that that's just stupid.
Yeah.
Anybody can tell you that. I do want to talk about Germany just for a second because I did arguably put them at second. They got the best midfield in the entire tournament. And I'd go as far as to say they might have the best back line.
Oh yeah, Kimmich, Goretzka,
Rudiger?
Muller. Jesus.
Okay, hold on. Tony Cruz.
He's not in the back.
Gundogan.
Gundogan.
No. Luke
Oh.
mentioned midfield.
Sorry.
Cruz,
Jeez.
Gundogan,
Muller is
Gosens.
10.
Gosens playing out
Oh,
left,
they're
who's had
so
an
good.
incredible
Yeah.
season. Kimmich as well, as we said. They have Havertz.
Havertz won't start. I
Gnabry-
don't think.
I think Havertz could start possibly at
think
striker because
Rafinha.
Werner will
I'm
start as
picking
striker.
I'm picking Havertz over Werner as my striker.
So am I. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I 100% pick Havertz over Werner in that position, but I'll tell you who doesn't, and that's Joachim Low. He picks
Well-
Werner at the 9 every day of the week.
Let me tell you, their back line, Rudiger, incredible season. Hummels, incredible season. Ginter, very strong. I'd say first season being good. Being a very recognizable player, very recognizable name.
Backs.
They have they play a 3-back.
Okay,
They,
I'm looking at their lineup. I'm like, this is all center backs, but
I-
You also have to look a little bit at their bench. I mean, they have Kevin Volland, who's played incredibly. Timo Werner, if we're starting Havertz, whatever. Timo Werner, Havertz on their bench. They have
Serge Gnabry.
Gnabry's
not
in the starting
starting.
lineup. They have Newhouse, who's had an incredible season. Sane, I
I'm starting. You're not starting Sane?
I start.
mean, it just
Oh,
depends who
wait.
they play. Just
Four
depends who
three
they play.
three. I would
Whatever.
start Sane.
What I'm trying to say, they've got a
Gnabry,
lot of depth.
Havertz.
A lot of depth.
I gotta say something about the back line. I'm not the manager, but they're not. I disagree completely with the 3 center backs. I think that's terrible, especially with the midfield. Kimmich at right back, Rudiger and Hummels at center back, and Halstenberg at left back. That's the best back line you can get, not the 3 center back. It's got to be.
Kimmich is the best
back.
midfielder in the world. One of the best midfielders in
He
the
play-
world.
he should
I'm
be
not
right
playing him.
back.
I'm not playing him right back.
And
I'm
then you
not
have
wasting him
Gundogan.
at right back.
Well, he is playing. I agree with you guys, but the role that he does play is the kind of João Cancelo inverted fullback that does come inside. I do think that he should be starting in the middle. I'm not saying that he should be starting at right back, but he is playing in their possession. He does come inside
Mhm.
as a kind of mock midfielder, and they do go into a 3-back. But playing him at right back is questionable because, as we all know, he's one of the best center mids in the world.
True, but I mean, who's the one guy that?
But then who do you start at right back?
No. Listen, no. I'm the one who's saying that Kimmich starts at right back, but I'm saying who's the one guy that they compare Kimmich to? Philip Lahm, who was a CDM but also a right back and insane in both positions. Kimmich can play CDM almost as well as he can play right back almost as well as he plays CDM. Mark my words right now, Germany will play the 4-back and you will see Kimmich at right back. That is, in my opinion. Of course, we all disagree, or we all agree to disagree. The 4-back with Kimmich at right back, Halstenberg at left back, and then Rudy and Hummels in the center back
Rudy.
positions. The best possible back line for Germany for this tournament, no doubt.
No, I I'm not wasting Kimmich at right back. I mean,
You're not wasting.
he is such a good CDM. But I mean, even box to box, he's honestly very good attacking too. I'm not putting him at that right back spot. I think their 3-back works for them. People underrate don't rate and underestimate Ginter. I think he's an incredible center back. He had a great year in the Bundesliga. He's a great player, and I think a lot of teams are moving to this 3-back. We saw Chelsea, move to the 3-back, and look how well they did. A lot of people, when they first saw that, were like, "What are they doing? What are they doing?" Look at how well it worked out for them. I think Rudiger is going to be great in the defense because he's used to playing in this 3-back system. Hummels, he's a very experienced player. And then you got this new kid who I'm talking about, Ginter. He's a great player. I think this 3-back is going to work wonders for them, and I'm keeping Kimmich in the midfield.
Okay, so you say that maybe it's a waste for Kimmich to play at right back, but then if you play Kimmich in the midfield, then who do you take out? Gundogan? You take out Kroos?
Yeah,
Take out Muller, Havertz?
No, you take out Gundogan.
I'm taking out
have
Kroos.
Kimmich play. I mean, Halstenberg and Kimmich. I mean, I can't stress enough that back four and then keeping that strong midfield for Germany is just so important. It's got to be the back four. I can't stress that enough. I feel so strong about Kimmich playing right back, and the reason why people don't think he can play right back is because he's been playing CDM. He was a right back before he was a CDM. He was consistently a right back.
He's so much better at CDM.
I understand he is better at CDM, but people forget how good this kid was. You have to realize Kimmich was a player that burst onto the scene. He didn't burst onto the scene as a CDM. He bursted onto the scene as a right back. He made the conversion to a center defensive midfield, became one of the best in the world at that position, if not the best. But he is so good at a right back, and people just tend to forget about that because he hasn't played there in a while.
By the way, I just want to say Trent Alexander-Arnold should make the exact same move.
He should make the German squad?
No, he should make the right back to CDM move.
Oh, he's not defensive enough.
No, he would be a sick midfielder.
That's what Reece James.
No. But the problem with Trent is that he gets taken too easily on 1v1s is where he struggles. So if he has players in the middle with him, then not as much struggle.
Well, that's why I think he should convert into like a right mid or a right wing, or something like that. Be more. He started off at the Liverpool Academy as a midfielder. I look at Reece James, a defensive right back who can make that conversion to CDM. I mean, he's played in a Champions League match at right wing, and he's played in a Champions League match at CDM. Obviously, he's a right back. Reece James and Aaron Wan-Bissaka are two right backs, English right backs that I could see making the center defensive midfielder conversion. Trent Alexander-Arnold is not one guy that I could see making that conversion. But Iko, I mean, listen, you never know. I mean, I'm sure he would still be a pretty fantastic player. But just look at the other CDMs. You look at Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's no Conte and no Casemiro and no Kimmich when it comes to defense.
All right. I think we got to touch on Portugal.
We should go back to France at some point, by the way.
Yeah, we need to do both still.
We skipped by. And Hungary? Oh.
Well.
All right, let's slightly speed run this. Portugal.
He has to go to bed,
can
by the way.
field. We've just been going for like an hour. Portugal can field a very good team. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's their depth that struggles. They do not have a lot of depth. They have a little bit of depth attacking. Not really anything in the midfield that's going to do anything. Not a lot in the defense either. I think that's what's going to struggle. Ronaldo is not as good as he was.
Ronaldo.
He can't single-handedly carry a team anymore.
He doesn't have to.
But now they've got the backups of Andre Silva, who's done very well in the Bundesliga.
And that's why I said they have attacking. Okay. They have depth attacking, but midfield, who are you going to bring on?
Bruno Fernandes.
No, he's starting.
Neves.
No, he's starting.
As a sub?
I'm saying depth-wise. You can't, because you can't in this tournament. You can't field the same team over and over. You need the depth.
Ruben Neves,
Danilo Pereira.
I should have listened more to that Portuguese dude on my For You page.
I know. Nuno Mendes. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes.
Paulinho.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Who's Paulinho? He said he starts over Bruno. I'm like,
Paulinho plays
Oh,
for
Joao
Sporting.
Polina.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
doesn't start over Bruno.
No, he's not.
I don't know what this guy's talking about. I mean,
What
listen, this
about
guy knows his
Pedro
stuff.
Goncalves?
He knows his
Yeah.
stuff. He's a Portuguese. I get it, but like you don't. I mean, he says the manager would prefer Paulinho over Bruno, which may be true 4 years ago, but not after this season. I mean, come on. Like
Bruno's
it's
one of the
brilliant.
best.
They also have Ruben
I
Diaz
think.
and
Yeah.
Joao Cancelo
Joao Cancelo.
at the back.
Perfect link.
Yeah,
Who's their goalkeeper?
absolutely.
Patricio.
Yeah, and they've got to
Yeah.
be. They've got to be playing Pepe with
Wolverhampton.
Ruben Diaz.
Oh,
yeah.
that'd
I
be
don't think.
so
I don't.
good.
I don't think Fonte should start. I think it should 100% be
Ooh.
Diaz and Pepe.
Guerrero at left back, or Nuno
Absolutely.
Nuno
Mensch.
Mensch.
No.
Nuno
Guerrero.
Mensch.
Guerrero
Yeah,
over Nuno
Guerrero's
Mendes.
great.
Guerrero's an
great.
incredible
Yeah.
left back.
Oh wait, hold on a second. Didn't he just? Wasn't he the one that had a terrible knee injury? Remember that
Rafael
Dortmund one where he
Guerrero?
like bent his knee pretty badly? It was either him
No,
or Dahoud.
I think he was
It was
playing
not
versus.
Guerrero.
Yeah, I think he was playing versus Israel just today.
Yeah,
then I'm
He
completely
did play
wrong.
today.
Who was the one that just got?
Did he play today?
No, he did not play today.
No.
He was
Nuno
on.
Mensch started.
Nuno Mensch.
Oh, he was not on the bench. Did Guerrero
Yeah.
get hurt?
It was the one. I
They
swear
have Nelson
Guerrero's.
Semedo.
Oh, Semedo, I forgot about him. Guerrero.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did get the knee injury. It was a bad one. It was like
Okay.
he slipped and it looked like he just tore his ACL. Like
Okay,
it bent
that's
back
scary.
the wrong way. Yeah. So Nuno Mendes.
Little hyperextension.
Nuno Mendes started.
Listen, I looked up Guerrero soccer, and he does not come up. I can tell you that.
Guerrero's spelled
Thumbs up.
weirdly. It's like
It's
Yeah.
Guerrero.
It's got that U with
Guerrero. Yeah, that's how you spell it. Though, yeah. No, you're not wrong.
another E.
Okay, wait. What are your front three? I'll say my front three for Portugal real quick. I've got obviously Ronaldo, but I've got Diogo Jota and Bernardo Silva as the front three. You could argue Bernardo fits well in the midfield. You agree
No,
with that front three, or is there?
yeah.
They don't have a right winger to play.
It's
instead
got
of
to be.
Bernardo.
Yeah, it's got to be Bernardo.
An
I think
alternative lineup that people say, I am not saying this is a good one. I personally wouldn't
Striker.
go with this, but that is you take Jota out of left wing, you move Ronaldo to left wing, put Felix at the top, and then Silva at the right wing. It's a decent thing, but I say no. I say Jota.
Actually,
Ronaldo.
it wouldn't surprise me if João Felix started and then they were doing the kind of switch thing in game, very similar to what Mbappe and Neymar do in game as well, where they say, oh, this is a weak point. Ronaldo should probably go attack it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not starting Jota. I think
Really?
I'm giving that spot to Felix, and Jota can come off the bench. Jota's had a good season. He's been good for Portugal. He's not proven much. He doesn't have the experience. Obviously, what I just said his name. Why am I forgetting it?
Jota, Felix.
No. Felix. Yeah, Joao Felix. Obviously, he doesn't have that much experience either, but he's a very good player. He's been very good. I'm giving it to Jota, or I'm giving it to Felix over Jota.
So you're saying Felix plays at left wing, Ronaldo at striker, not the other way around?
I feel like
have
it's not.
Ronaldo through
I
the
feel like it's
middle.
not really going to be a left wing, a left wing, a right wing. I think it's going to be a left cam, a right cam, kind of.
So you say they drop back, and then you can do what Luke said, where they kind of just maybe switch it depending on. How, okay.
Well, and then
It's just gonna be everybody
Bruno.
get forward, and then like trickle back.
let Bruno work his magic.
I mean Ronaldo, but sure.
Yeah, but Bruno
and Ronaldo
Bruno's
are gonna
in
be
control
scary
right now. He's-
together.
Did you watch Bruno's goal today? One of I think it was his second.
One of them
goal.
was nice.
His
right?
second goal,
It was like the top
outside
corner, weak
outside the
foot.
box, top corner.
Oh, fairness.
on his left foot
Yeah.
as well, right?
I mean,
Was his right foot?
I
I want to say it was his left.
think it was
foot.
his left foot going to left corner.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
like
against
top
Israel?
left.
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
who cares? It was a great
Good
goal.
goal.
You can score that goal versus anyone.
Good
They-
goals, good
I
goals.
mean,
Israel has Zahavi, and that's it.
Zahavi. Yeah,
Who's a
that's all I know.
good striker? He's got to be the best Israeli player of all time, surely, doesn't he? I
Sure.
can't. name-
Yeah, I can't name another one. So
I'm sure I bet there was a Zahavi of the 80s. It's like we're not going to remember Zahavi when we're, in 20 years
No.
from now. Just like they don't remember whoever that guy was in the 80s or 90s. But
all right,
I don't know why we're talking about Israel.
Should
By
we
the
go
way,
to France?
quick
Pretty
look
sure-
at France.
real quickly about Israel, I think they can qualify for the Euro. Not that they are going to ever, but I think they can qualify for the Euros and the Asian Cup. Like I think they're allowed to. They're one of the teams that can qualify for like both.
Really?
tournaments. I read something. I
Nice.
could be
Can
totally wrong.
Russia?
Russia, I don't think can. I think they delegated to UEFA, whereas I think Israel is kind of switching between AFC and UEFA.
That's really interesting, actually.
Pretty weird. Just
Don't
how
hear about stuff like that very often.
it might be one of those where it's like how USA or Mexico could potentially play in the Copa America. It's like one of those.
Even though they're not South American.
Even though they're
nation.
not CONCACAF, or excuse me,
Okay.
they're not CONMEBOL, they're CONCACAF.
Yeah.
Might be one of those. Anyway, just a random fact. But yes, we should talk about France.
Okay.
France.
Bro, they're so good.
I think there's really two major talking points with this team. One, we touched on it for a second. Teo Hernandez not in the lineup. Two, Tolisso looks like he might be a starter for them. He's
Yeah.
played almost every game with them. The
And he's
midfield
good.
looks like it's going to be him, Conte, Pogba, and then Griezmann kind of as a cam.
Right.
Is that their best midfield? Is that the midfield they're going to be
Mm.
putting out?
I say yes. I'm not going to touch too much on Tolisso because I haven't watched him enough for to give a real input. But all I'm going to say about what you just said in that midfield is Conte and Pogba. Conte in itself, he's just fantastic. Best CDM in the world, or best one of the best midfielders in the world at the moment. I don't know if he's going to be playing CDM for France. That's why I said CDM, because he doesn't play CDM for Chelsea. I don't know if he's going to play CDM for France. Who knows? But Pogba is a different animal for France. I think they are going to be the best midfield duo in the tournament. Conte and Pogba are just, they're going to blow everybody away. And then you decide who you want to put with them, of course.
So, I saw a stat today that when Pogba and Conte have played together, they've never lost a game.
There you go.
Not once. Like never. When they are.
How many times have they played together?
It was
a
like
lot.
some 27.
Besides
some-
World Cup.
It was like
'cause World
20
Cup, they obviously won it.
Yeah,
Did they
but
go unbeaten?
27 times
Yeah.
they've played together. They've never
They
lost a
couldn't-
game.
They couldn't have lost.
No, if they lost like
Yeah,
one,
they could have lost in like
Oh,
the
like group stages.
yeah
because
group
they
stage.
almost drew to Australia. I remember that.
Yeah, but Pogba for France, we all know is the Pogba that we wish we could regularly see. Conte is Conte. He's gonna smile and be amazing.
Did you read about Conte's press conference?
No,
He was like, I don't know why people overhype me
Yes, he's like-
smiling. I'm just a normal person. Like
I
people
did
need to
see that.
stop. He was like, people need to stop like going
Overhyping
crazy
me.
about this. I'm just a normal person.
yeah,
I love Conte.
Like he was like
Oh,
getting.
how can you
no, he
not
wasn't
love
getting
Conte?
mad, but he was
I'm
like
gonna
kind of
love
getting
Conte.
mad.
because he
he just doesn't like being in the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
limelight. Like he just likes to kind of be the player that just does his job and gets out.
yeah, exactly.
Which you've got to have a lot of respect for.
Agreed.
Well, you guys can disagree with me here, but I think there's a very obvious lineup. Lloris in goal,
Yep.
Pavard right back, Varane and Kimpembe playing center back, Lucas Hernandez left back,
Yep.
Conte CDM, Pogba and Tolisso playing like center mids next to each other, Griezmann at the 10, and then Mbappe and Benzema. Hoping that Benzema is
Which he will be healthy.
fit,
I
and
think.
if Benzema's not, then you're putting Ben Yedder in there. I think.
It
or
says he's going
Or
to
Giroud.
return June 7th. Well, that was 2 days ago.
This
Um,
this is not a again. I maybe I shouldn't say that, but I'm wondering if Tolisso obviously in great form. I wonder if because obviously we know Pogba and Conte could play CDM. I'm wondering if you put Sissoko at CDM and then put Conte and Pogba at center mid, because they're
the
I think
8.
both of their best positions are center mid, not so much CDM. But that does take away Tolisso and adds maybe a weaker player in Sissoko. That's why I think you got to call up Ndombele, put him at CDM, and then have Conte, Pogba. I don't know why Ndombele didn't make the squad. It's just
I think that may be one of the reasons why they're not using Teo. Obviously, they should be using Teo, but I think that they want to get as many players forward and be as ruthless in attack as possible, which is why they're going with a bit more of a defensive back line. But also, we've got some other options for them. Obviously, you
You
got
Hold
gotta
on.
hate that.
Hold on. You just
Digne.
contradicted yourself so badly.
They're going with a
You
defensive
said
lineup.
you said they want everybody forward.
No, they want their
and
back
that's why I
four
started. That's
to
why I
not be
started shaking my
bombing
head because I was
forward.
like, no, the
No. Okay, wait. Let me
hold
just
on.
explain then.
He's gonna rephrase.
let
Yeah,
me just
I can
let me, no.
rephrase.
Let me stop you there.
Okay, do what you need
The
to do.
reason, because I did you watch I watched the Deschamps interview about why they didn't pick Teo. It's because if they need a wingback-ish player like that, they're just gonna put Dembele in, and they wanted Lucas Hernandez because they want it more defensive, like
Yeah,
you said
okay.
in the end.
Teo can
After I
play
started
wing.
shaking my, Teo should 100% be playing
Yes.
left back. He's the
Yeah.
best left back,
In
one of the
Serie A.
best left backs
Okay,
in the
there you
world
go.
right now.
Yeah, there you
He's
go.
best left back at Milan.
I mean, if you're
He is. What, you're gonna argue that?
Yeah, is he
he's
not? Okay.
he's yeah.
Don't push it.
He's in the conversation for best left back in the world, no question.
Okay, cool.
So is Ben
So-
Chilwell at that point.
Absolutely not. They had
He's in the
nowhere near.
conversation.
They had nowhere near similar seasons.
He's in the
Kieran Tierney's
conversation.
in the conversation.
Well, one of them won. You're right. One of them won the Champions League. The other one didn't do anything. Anyway.
Okay.
Oh, you weren't
But-
going, Luke?
Yeah, no, just silence.
Yeah. What I guess I meant to say is that their back four is going to be a bit more defensive because their midfield and attack is so offensive. Which is I still don't get. I'll never really get why they didn't select Teo, at least to have him on the bench as an option. But we're not the people that make the decisions. So we just kind of have to respect what's made. But I think that, I mean, are we all going to agree that France is going to win the whole thing, or on paper should
We
win the
do.
whole thing?
Yeah. Luke and I do.
'cause-
You agree?
No,
You don't-
France is winning it, and if they
Yeah.
don't, then that's just sad because
Well,
they.
it's not a
are-
disappointment, but because something
No, it's
can
such
happen,
a
but
I
disappointment.
think
They
it's-
by far have the best
But
team.
man, they're so
nobody is
good.
close.
Is
Nobody is
Yetter called
close.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Yetter.
Listen, I actually would. Okay, I would say it's kind of a disappointment if France didn't win, but it's also hard to, like, at the beginning of a whole tournament say they have to be the one team that wins. It's like in the NBA, like there's not really one team that you're like, oh, they have to win. Like there's always going to be a few that you think could win. So when you say France should win, you also have to take into consideration Portugal, Germany maybe. What's the big one?
Belgium. Belgium's
sorry,
ranked
yeah,
number
Belgium,
one right
that's the one.
now. Somehow.
Belgium. Okay, before we end, obviously we're not going to talk about Hungary. Szoboszlai isn't even playing in the Euros because he's injured.
They've got Gulashi. That's
One more
about it.
thing. This is not going to happen in the Euros, but let me just say this. If Olivier Giroud scores 5 goals at the Euros, he will be up there with Thierry Henry as the leading goal scorer in France's history. 6
I
more
think he
goals and he
will.
breaks the record, I believe.
I think he will do it.
He will do it. Maybe not in the Euros because Benzema will get playing time if he's healthy.
Yeah.
If Benzema is hurt, Giroud he's got a chance.
Really?
I'm saying Benzema fit, Giroud scoring 6.
I hope so.
Think about how many games they're gonna play. He's gonna get.
and
brought in a
Giroud
good
does
amount.
come on quite a lot.
That's true.
Uh,
Guys, I hope so. I really
I
do
love
hope so.
Giroud.
Plus, Benzema,
Alright.
if he's coming back from an injury, we don't know how serious it is, then maybe he's not.
It's a dead leg. It's a dead leg.
Oh, is it?
It's-
Okay.
It's
Alright,
not
then
an
it's
injury. Yeah.
France is winning it, boys. That's what we're all saying.
Yeah.
should we move into the game?
We shall, guys. We are. This is
We've-
the. Just want to say, inside
this
the
is
D history right now. This is the
It was
longest
like an hour
episode
and a
of
half.
Inside the D history.
Most
An hour
definitely.
27, but I started the timer a little bit
Jesus
late.
Christ.
Good,
All
guys.
right,
Let me get my whiteboard.
we've got a bit of a shorter game today because we're already at a long episode.
Time.
3 questions.
Oh,
It's Euro themed.
Okay.
We're gonna start it off not easy, but easy to guess. Who won the 2012 Euro? Italy, Spain, Portugal, Greece.
Okay, you could stop reading the.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right.
the most dominant
Question
team of our
number-
generation.
Oh,
Question
that team
number
was
2.
so good.
You could wait. Do you have 5 questions or just 3?
3.
Oh,
Question number 2.
Yes.
Who missed the penalty for England in the 1996 Euro semifinals?
Against who? Or do we not?
Germany.
Germany. Okay.
Alan Shearer,
that's a bollock.
Gareth Southgate,
Imagine.
Stuart Pearce, or Sol Campbell?
Can you repeat the first three? The first two, sorry.
Shearer, Southgate, Stuart Pearce, Sol Campbell.
God, I don't know this.
Luke?
I'm not writing out the full name, so I'm just putting a
Go.
letter.
Stuart Pearce.
Well, 1996,
No chance it was. Well, it wasn't
Semifinals.
Shearer, right?
a young 25-year-old by the name of Gareth Southgate
Wow.
missed the penalty for England.
Luke, did you get that?
One of the most
Yeah.
infamous moments in his career. I just watched Chris MD did a whole like docu thing
Zero.
with him, and it dove into that. And I forget who it was versus, but in the World Cup, some player on another team, they went to pens and he missed the penalty. And the first thing that Gareth Southgate did was went up to him because he said like,
Oh,
I know what you're going through right now.
Well, I was
like-
thinking of
That's
that
wholesome.
World Cup one, but then you said you.
And the third and final question
2-0, by
is,
the way.
what do you mean? No, it's 2-1. But
Oh,
yeah,
2-1. I'm still winning.
Wait, it's 2-1. What are you talking about?
you guys
you
both got the
one.
first one.
If I get this and Luke doesn't, can you make up a question in your head for a tiebreaker?
Sure.
Yeah.
Who
Who have?
the worst, or who has the worst odds to win the Euros this year
I'm gonna look at this
out of
thing.
these teams? Because there's a
No.
three-way.
No.
No.
No, I was looking at my notes
There,
about what.
there was a three-way tie, but only one of those teams I put into here.
Okay.
Is it Slovakia, Ukraine, Hungary, or Wales?
I mean, I feel like Luke's got this one as well.
Yeah, we both put the same thing, so I've won it.
Yeah.
They're not getting out of their
Wait,
group.
yeah, that's what
It
was.
doesn't
you're-
matter.
You're both wrong because it
Yeah.
just is Slovakia.
No, but it doesn't matter because we put the same answer, so I've won. But
Well, it
Luke
does
did
matter.
win, but-
We both got it wrong.
yeah, I know,
Hungary is plus 40,000. Slovakia is plus 50,000. Tied
How?
with North Macedonia and Finland.
How?
Oh,
how
I
is Hungary-
before you said the answers, I was writing down North
I
Macedonia.
was actually writing down Scotland.
Really that low? They have a chance of making it out
Scotland
of the group.
is cheeks.
Hungary has no chance of making it out of the group. Zero.
Well, that's why I
chance.
put Hungary. when you
Yeah,
said the
so-
options. Ugh, Ego, I wish you did 5 questions. I was really excited, but now I've
We're
lost.
at 100. We're at an
Reigning
hour and
champions?
35
By the way,
minutes.
Spain is. I realized. I think I saw a graphic on this earlier. Spain won the 2008 Euros, the 2010 World Cup, and the 2012 Euros. I mean, how dominant can you get?
I mean, it was the Xavi, Busquets, Iniesta era.
Quick question before we end this: the Spain dynasty that they had in the 08 and 12, or in 2010 and 2012, is this something that France can do?
Not to that level. Well, not to that.
Absolutely to that
They've
level.
No,
already
no,
got a World
I
Cup. They
think-
could get a Euro.
I
If
think
they
it's
go
different. I think
Euro
it's different.
now-
I think it's different. I think it's different.
Why?
I think it's different.
Because
Because
Xavi, Iniesta.
Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets played for club and country together, and they were so dominant for both.
Yeah, but that's their individual status. Like,
But I don't think it's individual.
as a country though. I mean,
No, but
France can get
without
the
one,
same-
you can't have the other. Without the other, you can't have one.
But what I
think
mean
that
is,
the three of them together are what made both Spain and Barca so good.
right? But I'm saying, can France as a national team get to the same
Yeah,
level that
yeah,
Spain did in terms?
Most definitely.
I mean,
most definitely.
they're. We're gonna. It's a whole nother episode of World Cup 2022. Obviously, we're not.
We'll
gonna-
get there.
for a very long time. But okay. So I was just curious because I saw that and I forgot how dominant Spain was when we were younger. But anyway,
Turns
guys,
out they
again,
were really good.
Inside the D history, over an hour and a half for this podcast. And hopefully I don't fall asleep while editing it. We have to go to school tomorrow, which is terrible. But that does it for this episode
Last
of
day
Inside
of
the D. We
school.
will keep you guys all updated during the Euros. Eco will be leaving the country, so hopefully we can work a way around that and try and film as many episodes as we can. But thank you for joining us on this episode of Inside the D, and we will see you in the next one.